You Booked It, Episode 1. Hey, entertainers and performers of the world! I'm your host, Dane Reis, and welcome to You Booked It, where I chat with inspiring entertainers 7 days a week. By digging into their journey, we're going to discover everything you need to do to be a successful entertainer. You know, because training usually skips that part about how to actually make your skills work for you in the real world. Fellow entertainers, my drive here at You Booked It is to share the inspiring and incredible journeys of successful entertainers. We are here to support your journey. So go to youbookeditpodcast.com and join the You Booked It email community where we dig deep into truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help you book that next audition, submission, or gig. If you enjoy this free podcast, please show your support and search for You Booked It on Apple Podcast or your favorite podcast app where you can subscribe so you don't miss an episode, leave a rating and review. And to show our appreciation for your, fingers crossed, 5-star rating and review, I will give you a shout out on an upcoming episode. And now, let's do this. Hey there everyone, and thank you for joining me on the debut episode of You Booked It. It's just me today, and it's going to be a pretty short one, but I wanted to lead off with this, so I could give all of you out there a quick overview of what this podcast is all about, why I chose to do it, and a little bit of background on me. You Booked It is a unique podcast in its space for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, the goal is to inspire both existing professional entertainers out there as well as those aspiring to become professional entertainers themselves. If you've been a part of the entertainment industry for any amount of time, you are well aware of all the ups and downs that come with it. But here's the deal. Training programs and schools simply do not teach the part about how to actually make your skills work for you in the real world. And you know what? I kind of get it. Because the entertainment industry is absolutely massive. It is so diverse, and there are so many different paths you can take. So how do you possibly teach a one-size-fits-all way to span that gap between training and a professional career? Well, that's why I started the You Booked It podcast, because we can learn from many. We can learn the consistent things successful entertainers do in their career, and together we'll discover not only the fundamentals of creating a successful career, but also the insider information for those niche-specific parts of the industry. I am a firm believer of giving back and not coveting information, especially when it pertains to the entertainment industry. By being open and sharing our knowledge, we better prepare ourselves, our peers, aspiring entertainers, and help ensure that we as a community get the absolute most from this industry while not being taken advantage of both artistically and financially. Part of what makes You Booked It unique is that in every interview, I'll be asking the exact same questions. By keeping the questions consistent, you'll be able to listen to each episode already knowing what I'll be asking. And the interesting and valuable part is how the same questions are answered by different people. The best part? I'll be interviewing a new person every single day, 7 days a week. Episodes will run approximately 30 minutes long, and they'll be full of great information. I chose to jump headfirst into creating this podcast because throughout my career as an entertainer, I have always been the one working to connect people with others and help people out where I can. I've also been that person who will tell you straight up on a gig or a contract exactly what I'm getting paid because in my opinion, every entertainer benefits from that kind of information. However, I'm limited to how many people I can help if I only share it with those I'm immediately surrounded with. I wanted to have a larger impact, and this podcast is how. Now, a little bit about me. I grew up in Missoula, Montana, playing all the sports. Then, late into high school, a series of concussions forced me to quit all of them. And suddenly, I had nothing to do. And one of my sister's friends, her name was Chayla, asked me if I wanted to lift some girls in a dance show. I figured, why not? I've got nothing else going on. And to make a long story short, I had a brilliant time and I haven't looked back since. Now, I graduated from the Boston Conservatory with a degree in musical theater and $120,000 in student debt. However, before that and since then, I've been fortunate to do some pretty cool things. I've performed in 9 shows on the Las Vegas Strip. I've performed in New York City, Boston, Canada, Australia, Italy, and Germany. I've been on TV and radio. I've sung as a featured soloist with world-renowned symphony orchestras. I'm an award-winning mascot. I won the Capital One National Mascot of the Year award for being the #1 collegiate mascot in the United States. I've also originated 2 other professional mascots worldwide. I'm a corporate producer and project coordinator. I'm also an Actors Equity actor and stage manager. Now, as you can see, I've been fortunate to work in various parts of the entertainment industry, and each one of them has its own tricks of the trade, if you will. And that's why I believe this podcast is so important. I'm thoroughly looking forward to sharing the interviews with you in the coming days and months. And that about does it for episode number 1. Be sure to subscribe to You Booked It on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. Tomorrow, we have our first guest, my good friend Michael Forsch, who has an epic amount of valuable information you don't want to miss. Cheers, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My one call to action for you is to go to youbookeditpodcast.com and join our free email community, where we dig deep into a continually growing resource of truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help you advance your entertainment career. Don't miss an episode. We have a new guest 7 days a week. Search for You Booked It on Apple Podcast or your favorite podcast app and subscribe today. Do you want to be interviewed on You Booked It? Head over to youbookeditpodcast.com and click on Get Interviewed in the navigation bar. Or if you're using a smartphone, tap those 3 lines in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, then tap Get Interviewed. Fill out our short questionnaire, and we'll be in touch. All the best to you. We'll see you tomorrow.